So hi, it's Yvonne from Yvonne Parker Hypnotherapy here, and today I'm joined by Rachel, who's kindly agreed to come and have a chat with me today. Hi Rachel.
Hi.
Good to see you.
And you?
So Rachel, would you mind telling people why you first decided to come and see me for some therapy?
Absolutely. Well, the main reason was I've got I had a huge fear of flying, and that stopped me from going abroad on an aeroplane for at least 9 years. I've had the fear of flying for sort of 20 years, I'd say. So I had flown with the fear, but I got to a point when my children got to a certain age where I didn't want to get on an aeroplane with them and completely freak them out. So we actually ended up driving to the south of France with like babies in the back for hours and hours and hours, days, just so I didn't have to get on an aeroplane.
Yeah, so eventually you obviously decided to go for some therapy and get some help with that, because I understand that you actually booked a holiday to fly. So knowing that you were going to do that, you then decided to sort of jump straight in and try and resolve this fear for yourself, didn't you? So when we did our sessions, how did you find our sessions together?
I didn't know what to expect, because I'll be honest with you. So for years where I've avoided flying, I didn't think I could be fixed. I just thought, I'm just going to have to take drugs to get on an aeroplane or drink. And actually, I can't do that with children, so I just won't do it. Until I met you and you took me through like how it can change and have that belief that it is changeable. I didn't know what hypnosis was or how it could help, and I was quite skeptical, I'll be honest with you. I mean, obviously, Yvonne, I knew you before, and I trusted what you were saying, but I was very skeptical. Like, I don't think this is actually going to fix me, but it's worth worth a try. So for me, I suppose, I turned up, I was quite anxious because I booked this flight. I decided that things had to change, and I booked the holiday, and I'd not done, like, as I tend to do, I take massive leaps. So I booked like an 11-hour flight, to Mexico and back again. So I knew it was going to be a real challenge. And yeah, so I was fully in your hands, not knowing what to expect.
Yeah. So obviously we did a series of sessions. How did you actually find the sessions, and the tools that obviously I helped you with to take with you? Just if you can just give a brief outline of like how you actually found the sessions and how you actually found having hypnosis.
Yeah, I thought it was amazing. It was like, I can't even put it into words. Like, it was like a chill, to really chill yourself down. It was almost like a pamper, but to solve your problems at the same time, like solve your fear and really delve into that. It really allowed me to connect with what was going on, because I'd had a previous fear of flying because of an experience, and my mind was closed off that actually, that isn't, I can't change that. But actually, by really going into yourself and being in that really relaxed state, I was really able to bring out actually what beliefs were stopping me and what needed to change.
Yeah, so obviously you did get on the plane, and you did go on holiday, because I know that you did. So when you actually went on holiday, how did you actually find flying after the sessions?
I actually enjoyed the flight, and I will say it was a mix of approaches. So for me, what worked is I did need the practical side of learning the ins and outs of an aeroplane. So I made sure that I had the tools I needed. So I went on a different course that taught me about that. But without the hypnosis to go together with that, it was the coping mechanisms when, I was feeling that stress, that absolutely change, is a game changer. You know, the fear was still there. It didn't get, you know, it didn't get under the grips of getting rid of the fear, but it gave me the coping mechanisms to know how to deal with that fear and understand where that fear is coming from, to the point where, you know, out of 11-hour flight, for the first 5 hours, I mean, take off a little bit nervous, but use the techniques and understood where that was coming from, which allowed me to release that fear. But then after that, I was watching movies and completely forgot that I was on an aeroplane. And
which is great to hear, you know, like you say, that you got so relaxed that actually you forgot you were actually on the aeroplane.
yeah, and then, you know, it started shaking a bit and I'd be like, woo! And then I went back to the techniques. And yeah, I mean, and I also thought one of my fears was I'd get there, it would be such a traumatic experience to actually get to the destination of holiday, and then I'm going to worry the whole 2 weeks about coming back. And actually I was able to control that and really understand the emotions when they came back, and able to shut those down so that I could really enjoy my holiday and know that I'm absolutely fine and I can cope on the way back. So, you know, I've now booked another holiday for this year, which is even longer flight. So, you know, I can't thank you enough for what you've done, because it's, you know, I wouldn't have done that without the help that you've given me. And if, you know, if anyone is sitting on the fence about getting hypnosis, just go for it. And particularly with Yvonne, because she's amazing, like absolutely amazing.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, you know, it is a collaborative process, as you understand, because you've been through that process. But it is also about allowing you to have the tools that when you need to cope in those situations, that you've actually got those tools available to you. So is there one thing that you think was the biggest takeaway that you had from having hypnosis? Because obviously, like you said, you were very skeptical before you started. You know, is there one piece of like information or advice that you would give to anybody who was perhaps watching this video?
As in what to do, or what to,
or just what you gained from having hypnosis?
Oh my goodness. So really it was the coping mechanisms for me. But I mean, there was two things. One was to delve into actually what is the root cause of this fear. And I already had some idea, but it was linking the dots together and having someone to actually laser in and help me sort of understand what those were, and then linking it together, because it's very hard when you're on your own trying to sort of think through, you get stuck in your head. And, you know, so really it was getting into the root cause of what was causing it, and then putting the coping mechanisms in, so that when you do feel that panic, or, you know, for me, it's, you know, let me just say that I couldn't get on an aeroplane. Like the air hostesses knew that I was scared of flying. I'd be running up and down the aeroplane, like literally in fear, begging them to help me. Are we safe? Are we safe? You know, it was extreme. I wasn't like a little bit scared. I was extreme, to the point where my husband couldn't cope looking after the children and coping with me at the same time. So to be able to get on an aeroplane and sit there, and actually, one of the biggest things actually I haven't mentioned was my son was scared. We had really bad turbulence. Well, it wasn't really, it's what I would class as bad turbulence. It wasn't bad, but it was turbulence. And my 9-year-old son looked at me like in absolute terror. And I was able to calm him and tell him everything was going to be okay, and we're safe and we're fine. And to be able to do that and go from this person that would sit there rocking with a hood up to someone that can actually support their children on an aeroplane and tell them they're absolutely fine is amazing.
Yeah, and it's that shift that you get, and that light that you get through doing hypnosis. Like you said, it's going back to the root of why that fear is there in the first place, and understanding that allows you to have that internal shift inside to then be able to cope. And obviously, like we said, it's by giving you the coping techniques, as well, so that you've got it twofold in that way. So that's really great. Thank you so much for sharing your story
No
with everybody.
worries at all. Thank you.
So if anybody is afraid of flying, or have got any other fears or phobias or anything like that, you can get in touch with me at www.yphypnotherapy.com. So thank you very much for joining me today, Rachel. Really appreciate that.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks. Bye.